5 years. Unbelievable to me. First of all, let me apologize for my voice or my lack of voice. My vocal cords are not happy, and they haven't been happy for several months. So I'm just going to go ahead and put that out there, get that over with, so we don't have an elephant in the virtual room here. Really and truly, I am blown away that this is 5 years today. I could not let my voice stop me from making a video, or at least jumping on here briefly. And that's what I touch on here in a minute. But first of all, I wanted to say to each and every single person that has stepped up and given of yourselves so freely without expectations to help cultivate this environment and atmosphere and make it what it is and continue to do so. Thank you. And I truly mean that with every fiber of my being. This isn't about me. This is about every single person that can hear me right now and that is willing to keep an open mind. I wanted to bring up just two concepts. I'll tell you how they helped me grow and helped me change as a person, and what I did in the beginning that I had no clue was going to have such an impact on me and who I am and what I discovered about myself and who I became. 2 words, that's it: resilient and relentless. And those 2 words can pretty much describe the overall journey of my entire life, but most definitely the past 5 years. I've tried to figure out, how can I teach somebody to be resilient? Well, I can't. And it took me a while to get to that revelation. Being resilient, in my opinion, is a product of what we go through, how we go through it, and what we choose to believe about ourselves and the world. Okay, I'm going to come back to being relentless here in a second, or being resilient here in a second. I want to talk about being relentless. Being relentless in everything you do in your life. Being relentless, or hearing somebody, a motivational speaker, or what have you, talk about approaching everything in your life relentlessly and with this drive and discipline, determination, ambition, and those. All of those are beautiful, amazing characteristic traits that I wholeheartedly believe in, but it's something that comes from within. It's not something that you can listen to and you hold and carry with you throughout the rest of your journey. Feeling motivated is temporary, and that's why it's so important to take those concepts and that energy, everything, package it up and make it a part of who you are. Okay, I mentioned that I was going to share with you what I did in the beginning. It was a commitment that I made to myself in the very beginning, day one, that I had no idea was going to have such the impact that it did on my life. But I made a decision, a conscious, intentional decision, not knowing what I was doing, but for some reason I thought it was a good idea to commit to every single day. And I mean every single day, there's no end point there, to learning at least one thing that was new. So learning something new every day. And the second part was putting myself in a situation that was out of my comfort zone every single day. Now, I did know that stepping out of our comfort zone was where we grow. And so I did know at least that much, but I didn't know that committing to doing these 2 things every single day until was going to be so powerful. But that's what I did, and that's what I've done. That's what I still continue to do. Sharing this because I hope that somebody can take that and run with it and use it in your own life and in your own business. Deep down underneath that, I guess is a better way to put it, being a business owner, you are who you are. And if you don't know who you are, you need to find out. Find out about yourself. I can promise you this. If you stick to those 2 commitments every single day until, I wouldn't give yourself an end date, because you're just going to limit yourself and limit your beliefs around this exercise or discipline, whatever you want to call it. If you commit to those 2 things until, you will absolutely discover things about yourself that you never even knew, whether that is how you act or react to certain situations, or something that that maybe you're passionate about and you never had thought twice about that, or whatever the case may be. You may discover that there's certain areas in your life, which we all have them, needs a little bit more attention that you might need to work on. Whatever it is, you're going to uncover them, you're going to discover them, and hopefully use them to help you continue to grow as a person and as a business owner and a husband or a wife or a friend or a daughter or whatever that may be, or a mom or a dad. And it never stops. It never stops. And that's one thing that fires me up about life, is I never want to stop growing personally. And I challenge you, and I hope for you that you don't ever stop growing. Because for me, the way I see it is, when we do stop growing, that's when we're going backwards. And I don't want to go backwards to the best of my ability. I'm laughing because of just the most ridiculous few years that I've had with some things I never thought I would be going through, to be quite honest. But you got to laugh at yourself. You got to laugh at life sometimes. Okay, moving on, because I'm going to need to wrap this up. Here's an example of, in the very, very beginning, something that I started doing immediately that was absolutely out of my comfort zone, and that's why I did it. Oh, it was so uncomfortable. Back in the day, we did not have Facebook did not have the function called Go Live. There were not Go Lives. So how about that, right? Well, the goal back then was to make 3 videos a day for your business page, and I was not comfortable with making videos. Believe it or not, I had confidence, but making videos was really putting myself out there. It's very personal and scary. I had a really big fear about it, because I knew that when I was making a video, I had a very dangerous stalker on the other end that was staring right at me, or right back at me. I was staring right back at him. And that being said, I share this story sometimes, who ask me how I got over the fear of making videos and so forth. What I really did was I had to shift my mindset, but I had to tell myself certain things. I had to basically almost like set boundaries for myself, rules, whatever you want to call them, structure, telling myself that I'm going to get on here and I'm going to make this video, however long it was. I don't remember. They were maybe 2 minutes, or with me, who knows, it could have been 8 minutes. Probably not then. But every time I got on the video, although nobody is on the other side right at the moment because it's not a Go Live, I had to look in the hole. Now, if that doesn't sound ridiculous, literally look in the hole on the phone and know that he was looking back at me, most likely. And I was terrified of him, truly terrified and scared for my life. And that's why I did it. That's exactly why I did it, because the fear was so big and so great and had such control over me that I just knew if I didn't tackle that fear and get over it, then I was done. And I knew that inherently. I just knew that. So that's why I did it. So the bigger the pain, the bigger the fear, whatever that looks like, equaled the same intensity or level of accomplishment, of feeling like, wow, I've got the confidence to know that I can do this again, or now I can go and do something a little bit more challenging, or whatever that looked like. I can stretch myself more. It builds up your self-confidence, but also your self-worth, and you begin to see yourself differently. And it's just a snowball effect. Eventually just said, it doesn't even matter anymore. I had conquered that and I felt good about it. Never was I perfect, never will I be perfect, nor do I ever want to be perfect, because perfect doesn't exist, in my opinion. Conquer your fears. And I know that is such a cliche, but in every cliche there is a lesson. There's so much validity to that. And you will find unbelievable joy and freedom, which opens up the door for expression and creativity when you actually do that. Put everything in perspective. Not everybody is going to be best friends with anybody and everybody. I would just encourage every single one of you, put things in perspective here in life, because I think we all know out there in the world, well, it can get crazy in here too, but out there in the world, in the real world, it's just difficult sometimes. So put things in perspective. And remember that being here in the Dream Team and starting your business is about you and your family and your why and the difference you want to make in life, but it's also not about you. So keep that in mind at all times. Okay, moving on. Now, I got a lot of practice at being resilient when I first started, and I continue to get to experience being resilient in this business and life. As I began to get more comfortable with the business and myself and what I was posting about and this and that, first of all, nothing I ever posted was, I haven't had one of those. I mean, I get inappropriate gestures and maybe some pictures, whatever, but that kind of thing. Let me tell you a fun fact, and then I'll tell you the last thing I want to touch on. Fun fact, out of the three of us, Darren, Mike, and I, Darren has the best complexion, absolutely. Mike and I, we always joked about just aging in general, because you get worn out after a while. And what's really a joke is that I'm the one that qualifies for the 50 and older group, and they don't. So I don't know how I feel about that. Hurry up, guys. That being said, honestly, I am a part of the 50 and older group, and because I have so much wisdom now, and I can look at my life so far in hindsight, like so many of us do, I want to encourage you guys to truly look at your life and look at what's going on in your life, the things that are getting you worked up, that you might be stressing about, or that maybe you're making more of a big deal about that you really don't have to. That whole don't sweat the small stuff. But just being open to seeing things a different way, being kinder to yourself, to be quite honest, because we're so hard on ourselves. Everybody has something, so whatever it might be, I just encourage you to take life a little less seriously, because just from my experience, thinking that I was a perfectionist, that I used to be a perfectionist, and now I think that's just the most ridiculous thing I could have ever thought. However, I did. That's what I thought. That's the way I was raised. I spent a lot of time worrying or thinking about, spending unnecessary energy on things that didn't deserve my attention, to be quite honest. The best way that I can describe it is to do your best to go with the flow, as opposed to allowing yourself to experience and struggle with friction. If you feel like you're going upstream and you're just going against the grain, I don't know if that's a Texas saying or not, but you're going against the grain, meaning not with the flow, then stop, because it's not necessary. It will suck the life out of you. What I want and what I don't want for you guys is to wake up one day and suddenly maybe you are ill, and I don't want you to go through that and have any regrets. Wow, that one was hard for me to get out. Whether I know you or not, I just want you to have the smoothest experience so that you can gain the most from your life, which to me means that you can give more in your life. You can be more of who you're meant to be, so that you can be more of who you're meant to be for others. And expect conflict, because we all have it. Focus on what works for you. Double down on what your strengths are. Find your genius zone. Be yourself. It's not your business what other people think about you. And the sooner that you get that, the sooner you're going to have some peace. Worst thing that you can do is compare yourself to somebody else. Really bad idea. Yeah. That is just setting yourself up for failure, to be quite honest, because you can never be that person can never be you. There is nobody here on earth that a better you, a better version of you than yourself, your genuine, authentic self. And comparing yourself to somebody else is absolutely a waste of time, discouraging, depressing, and like I said, setting yourself up for failure. I think that's enough out of me for now. But again, unbelievable 5 years. Memories have been made that I will absolutely never forget, and I hope the same for you. That you can say you have moments that you created, you had moments that you were a part of, and experiences in your life that you will cherish and be changed from forever.